So in February 2012, I announced to the world, as well as my friends, that I was living with HIV on Facebook. Between family photos from friends in the timeline and a funny cat meme. A couple weeks later, I released a recorded live video of me actually being told at Vanderbilt University HIV vaccine clinic that I was HIV positive. And now, 5.5 years later, the video is done pretty good, but I have had 1.5 million minutes watched of video content on social media about HIV. My goal is, and was, to just make HIV something that we're not scared to talk about online. Something that may not be cool, but may not be uncool. Make sense? Now, I have a reach on social media of 65,000 people, and that's from Facebook fans and followers, and Twitter followers, and Instagram, and the YouTube subscribers are really low. But I have 1.5 million minutes watched of content, so it equals out. The reason why I do this on social media and I advocate for HIV is because when I was diagnosed, I looked online and I just wanted to find somebody like me. And I wanted somebody to tell me that I wasn't gonna die. And I couldn't find that. And so I started a blog, and on that blog I named it I'm Still Josh, and I thought that it was literally the most brilliant, smartest thing that I've ever done until like 6 months later. And then I'm like, I am talking about myself in third person all the time, and this is getting really bizarre. But the reason why I started the blog was because I wanted people in this town, in this city, and in the South, that when they got the news on the worst day that they have ever had, I wanted them to not feel alone. And so, after about 6 months, the blog became actually less about me and became more about what you see on the screen, which is issues related to HIV. So news and advocacy and that sort of thing. But there's always been this element on my blog that I wanted to encourage people that were newly diagnosed. And so you can kind of imagine or try to put yourself in that position on that day when you get the worst news that you have ever heard. And so you just want somebody to tell you that it's going to be okay. And so that's what I've been trying to do. But I want to share something with you guys that I normally don't share. And it's because these moments are deeply personal between me and some of the followers on social media. And it's a moment that is very humbling, but also inspiring at the same time. Here's an actual message that I just received 2 weeks ago from one of the followers in social media. He said, I was really depressed after my diagnosis. I found a lot of hope in your blog. I wouldn't be in the open telling the world I'm not ashamed of being HIV positive if it weren't for you. The reason why I share this with you is nothing to do with me. It actually has nothing to do with me. It's to show you the impact that somebody can have to the world and to others just by trying to be honest and talk openly about a chronic condition that they have. So much so that besides the hundreds of messages like this that I receive, I've also received about 15 that have stopped me in my tracks every time. And they're from people just like us in this room that are newly diagnosed, though, with HIV and that are on the verge of ending it all. They're contemplating suicide. And although on my blog I tell them I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, and I can't give you any medical advice or legal advice or financial advice, they still want to share that piece of themselves with me. And about 15 times, people have told me that they have chose not to commit suicide because of something on the blog or on social media or they just see me trying to live well. So the impact that patients can have, really the impact that people like us can have on others just by being open and honest is pretty amazing. But again, it's not about me, and I'm going to prove it to you. And I really do believe that. It's not about me. It's not anything special that I've done, because we can test it by going to other health conditions and other bloggers and patient advocates online. The first one, let's just stay in HIV, is Bruce Richmond. Now, Bruce is somebody that is one of the coolest HIV advocates around, because he is helping spread a message that is mind-blowing and life-altering. And I really mean that. And the message is the hashtag U=U, or just U, the equal sign U. I think you see it on my hat. And it's undetectable equals untransmittable. And basically the message is pretty simple, and it's science-based, that if somebody has an undetectable viral load, and they're on antiretroviral therapy, which is the drugs that we take every day, and they reach that undetectable level for 6 months, that they are not going to transmit HIV to a sexual partner even without a condom. That's insanity, but it's factual. It's crazy, but it's science. And Bruce is out there sharing that message, and it is transforming the lives of people living with HIV across the world, really. And why is that? Well, because when you are diagnosed with HIV, you are told that you're infectious, and that you have a viral load, and that you're going to transmit to somebody if you ever had sex again. And this message is sharing the facts that we know that we are not transmitting, that we won't transmit. And it really gives us the power to feel like we can love again. And it gives us the power to feel like that we deserve to be loved. And Bruce is sharing that message across social media. And right now, that message has been endorsed by over 300 organizations, including UNAIDS last week, which is amazing. And it's across every continent and 11 countries and 7 languages. And it's all because this one advocate decided to make this an important message to share. The next person that is in HIV that is doing amazing work is Maria Mejia. I always mess up that last part, Mejia. Or Maria HIV if you go to Facebook and just type that in. She's somebody that is an amazing friend of mine, but she runs the largest HIV international group ever. I mean, she is doing it. She's also somebody that can make really corny phrases like, life is beautiful. I think she said that recently in a video. She can make that sound like it's really awesome. I try to do it, and it sounds not awesome. And then also, just to mention him, is Jack McEnroth beside Maria. She is doing great work. This is Kevin Maloney. Kevin Maloney is somebody that is, he's like the CNN of HIV advocacy. And what I mean is when breaking news happens or comes out with the Associated Press, Kevin is going to post it on his Facebook page and Twitter, but he's responsible for the No Shame About Being HIV Positive campaign that has shared over 800 people's individual stories on social media about them living and thriving or not thriving with HIV. He jokes to me and says that I'm like the TMZ of HIV advocacy, because I like things to be a little bit spicy in order to get to my blog. I like to think of myself more as like the MTV News with Kurt Loder. You remember that? Meets Joel Osteen. That encouragement. Anyway, Kevin is doing amazing work, and it's amazing to have him beside me and us doing this work together. There are people that advocate for HIV that are HIV negative. It's like, what? Yeah, there are HIV activists that are negative. And Damon Jacobs is one of them. Damon is a licensed marriage counselor in New York, But when there was a pill that came to market in 2012 called pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, that he started a Facebook group that now has over 11,000 members. And these are people that are all just trying to stay HIV negative. And so if you take a pill once a day, you can do that. So what about other health conditions? Well, in heart disease, Kathy Elton, and these are some of my favorite bloggers. So what would Kathy eat is one? Sue Richa with Diabetes Rambling. She advocates for, obviously, diabetes. Natasha Tracy, the Bipolar Burple blog. So she advocates for mental health. With substance use disorder is Adam Sled and addiction. Ella Dawson is amazing. She's a herpes icon. I like that word, icon. But she's somebody that actually changed my view of other sexually transmitted infections and living with those. And she gave a TEDx talk once, and it actually is the one that made me decide, gosh, I really wish I could do something like that. The last person is Lisa Dasis, and she has multiple sclerosis. She started a blog, MS Lisa Says, and she advocates for those that are living with MS, and she's somebody that is really close to me. She's my mom. Last year, she reached the top of a rock climbing wall. Yeah. The backstory from that is 15 years ago, my mom was on her death couch. Okay, death couch, because she couldn't even make it to the deathbed. So she started blogging with MS Lisa Says after I told her a year after I had started, Mom, you've got to do this. And although I can't say that blogging and social media are the reason why last December that she reached the top of the climbing wall, I can tell you that it's highly coincidental. And there's something powerful about opening your lives and sharing your story for others and advocating for others to live well, and that's what she's doing, and I'm really proud of her. There's something that all these bloggers have as well. According to WeGo Health, they have a blogger network of over 10,000 people advocating for health conditions. And many of us have the HON code, which means that we have a third-party accreditation, just like Healthline, just like WebMD, that our content is accurate. So it's now to you. I live by saying that we're all dealing with something, okay? There's no one that I know yet in life that has sex or intercourse that couldn't or shouldn't be in the same shoes that I'm in. That's a powerful statement. But it all comes from we're all dealing with something. So if you have a chronic condition, how awesome and incredible would it be if you started to tell your story on social media? What if the experience you had could save 15 people's lives? And that's what I am encouraging all of you to do. I share this with my mom. I love you, so I'm giving that to you guys. I'm Josh Robbins. I advocate for people living with HIV to live extremely well. And you can check out my story at imstilljosh.com. Thank you.